This is the plaintiff, Justin Longo. He says he purchased a car from the defendant, and the thing had a cracked head gasket. The defendant tried to cover it up to the naked eye, and he's here suing today for the return of his $2,700 because he was ripped off. This is the defendant, Robert Souza. He says the plaintiff's a liar with no proof he tried to cover up anything. The car was in great condition when he sold it. The plaintiff bought it without even test driving it. And a sale is a sale, and he owes nothing. He's accused of hiding defect.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff bought a car from the defendant, says it was a clunker with a blown gasket, and he wants his money back. But the defendant says the car was in great condition when he sold it to the plaintiff, and he's sorry, but he simply doesn't owe the guy a penny. It's the case of, I'm blowing a gasket over this car.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Longo, you are suing Mr. Souza for $2,700. The cost of a vehicle that you bought from him, which according to you is a lemon, and he knew it. Tell me about it.
Well, in February, towards the end of it, I bought the car. I did go and see it. I did look over it. And everything looked good, except for a slight oil smell that was burning off of it. And when I questioned him about that, he said he had just had it taken in for an oil change, not even about an hour before I came to see it. And that was just some oil burning off the engine. Well, come to find out, what was actually wrong is the valve cover gaskets had gone bad again.
Wait. So wait a second. So how did it drive?
When I did drive it, after I had gotten it home, because I had to...
Wait. Back up. You bought a car without test driving it?
Due to the weather out and due to the time, no, I didn't test drive it. But
what was the weather? What was the weather like that you could buy a car but not test drive it? So why?
It was pretty raining out.
Okay.
And I just wanted to get the car home.
So you didn't I suppose I know the answer to my next question, which is, did you have a mechanic check it out? I think we know what that is. If a little rain stops you from test driving it.
After the fact, I did, yes.
Keeps us in business.
I understand.
It does. It keeps us in business nonstop.
Absolutely.
But the reality is a test drive wouldn't have shown what was wrong because it had been covered up. One of the
How had it been covered? First of all, what is it? What, according to your mechanics, is wrong with it?
The head gasket is bad.
What does bad mean? Can you be more specific?
It's either cracked or warped. And
well, do you have anything from the mechanics saying what it is?
Yes, I have from Auto Care that goes into detail of everything that's showing why it would have that.
Just a minute.
Yep.
Coolant system is getting overpressurized and coolant is milky, likely caused by a bad head gasket or cracked head. What do you mean? They can't see it?
They would have to disassemble the top half of the engine.
So then how do they know that's what it is? Car has large amounts of oil leaking from head gasket area, which also could indicate a bad head gasket or cracked head.
Yes.
So what did they do? Nothing?
He didn't want to go further than that. He doesn't deal with bad head gaskets.
So now this is Chris's auto. And at Chris's auto...
And that's where he found the stop leak in the radiator.
Check burning smell, lacks heat. Found stop leak in the radiator. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Souza. What's going on? How long did you have this car?
About a year.
And did you drive it during that year?
Oh, yeah. Drove it everywhere.
Okay. Was there ever any problems with it?
Ran great. No. I had the heater core flushed because I was having an issue with the heat. That was remedied by just them cleaning it.
He claims that there was a smell of oil the day he went to look at the car and concluded the car seemed to be in good shape. Aside from a burning smell, why isn't that enough to make you go running as opposed to buying a car without even bothering to get inside of it and test driving it? Mr. Souza, tell me what happened. Were you shocked that he didn't even test drive it?
I was absolutely shocked. As a matter of fact, I felt rushed from the beginning to the end. I offered him to take it for a ride. I would have gone with him, of course. And he just didn't want to. His exact words is, "I trust you." He didn't look under the vehicle. And if he had, he would have seen, there was an oil leak. It's a 99. I had replaced the valve cover gaskets, which was like 90% of the oil leak.
How do you suppose that you're going to prove, Mr. Longo, that Mr. Souza knew there was a broken head gasket when not even your mechanic can know it without taking the car apart?
Well, the mechanic being experienced with it is everything points to it. The key here is
but how is this guy going to know about it? He's a private party who you bought a car from.
The key is the sealant in the cooling system, in the radiator. You only put sealant in to seal head gaskets. And by putting the sealant in, you also remedy the heater core useless because it clogs the heater core. Because he had put sealant in the system and it clogged the heater core, so he was trying to get it fixed. And I do have
You're quite the detail guy for a guy who didn't even bother to test drive it and has no warranty.
Hindsight's
No, but not hindsight. Have you ever bought a car before?
I've bought plenty. And
right.
I've usually, I've always been on.
But if it's nothing that a test drive would have shown, then how are you going to prove that this guy's on notice? Because you see, any car that you buy that's a used car, but in particular, a used car that's 21 years old, is an as-is sale. There is no warranty to it. So you'd have to prove that he was deceptive, knew there was an issue, and snowed you on it. You're telling me that it's a head gasket that's cracked. Probably. Well, what do you mean probably? Well, but they wouldn't be able to see it unless they took everything apart. Well, he didn't take everything apart, so how would he know?
The sealant in the system. You only put that in for a bad
The only thing he knows is how it drives. He says it drove great.
He had to be the one to put the sealant in the system. So he's the one that set it up that way.
Did you put sealant in the radiator?
No.
Okay, now what? What's your next move?
I had the system flushed.
Okay.
And putting new antifreeze in it, so there's no way.
Yeah, the system flushed, and yet there's sealant.
I had the system flushed. Sir, I had the system flushed because it was time. I hadn't known who had the car prior to me. I wanted to make sure I was all set for the winter. No mechanic is going to put sealant, like you said, in the system.
Yeah, for all I know, the sealant is in the system because something is cracked in your 21-year-old car. We're done, Mr. Longo. Verdict for Mr. Souza.
Mr. Longo, let me ask you, I'm sure you're a little frustrated right now. What are you thinking?
Well, the only way the sealant could get in there is if he put it in there. I do realize I didn't drive it first. I didn't have a mechanic test it. She is right on that. And
I feel sorry for you, but she was, obviously you've learned something about buying a used car, right?
I wanted to trust him. That is the truth.
All righty. Sorry about that. That's the way it goes. Mr. Souza, I guess you feel vindicated somewhat, don't you? You should, at least. Right?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I sold it.
And you have no explanation on how any sealant got in there, if it did at all, right?
No, I don't. No, I didn't. I don't use that stuff.
Okay. Well, congratulations. You're the victor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Harvey.
Okay, Doug. Well, look, this is an as-is sale. We've talked about this a gazillion times on the show. But I want to say this, that the older the item is, in this case, the car's 21 years old, for crying out loud, the older it is, the harder it's going to be for you to prove that one exception, which is fraud, that somebody withheld a defect. I mean, the fact is, when you buy a 21-year-old car, lots of stuff goes wrong. It's going to be real hard to prove that there's any defect that was hidden, but get it in writing. Get some kind of a warranty that it's in good condition. It's the only thing that'll save you.
Marilyn, if you could live anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world, where would you live?
I'd live in the exact spot of the earth that I live in now. In the exact house that I live in now.
No, I think it's
where I raised the kids.
Oh,
yeah, right. And with the exact person that I live with now. Yeah, I really love Miami. I love being close to the water. I really feel the water.
You're a beach person.
Not even beach, just water. Any water. I don't need to be in sand. I just need water. And I need warmth.
Absolutely. Oh, that's good. If it were me, I would say in the mountains somewhere. I like the mountains. The mountains, it's like you get beautiful views like you do at a beach perhaps, but you don't get sand in your butt. So it's like, it has its virtues. And I like the fresh air, the cool air up in the
It does smell different in mountains.
And so I would pick probably Western North Carolina mountains.
That's going to do it for this session of the People's Court. We want to see you tomorrow, so tune in and we will see you then.